If you're still having financial setback in 2026, that would mean that you're probably doing either one or two of these things I'm going to mention in this video. So I want to share with you something that really helped me put my finances in check. So I believe that it can also work for you. That is if you are serious about your finances this year. If you want to be very intentional about your finances, yes, it is almost half of the year and you do not want to joke. Number one on my list would be overpromising. It may sound simple, but this thing can ruin your finances, and I'm going to explain how. So, what do I mean by overpromising? You are a salary earner, or maybe you're a business person. Let me use a salary earner because when this happened to me, I was a salary earner. In fact, I was a salary earner and also a business person. Now, what I mean by overpromising is someone calls you, maybe a friend or a relative, and ask for money. You don't have the money immediately, and you're making promises. Oh, let me see what I can do, or let me see to the end of the month, or okay, uh, anyhow, you just promise. There is a promise somehow, somewhere. There is a promise that you are going to do something about it. Let me use that phrase because people like using it. Let me see what I can do. I believe you can relate to that. So, the moment you do this, you are already entangling yourself. The moment you do this, you are already under an obligation and you have to perform, especially if you are an honest person. Why I'm saying that, especially if you are an honest person, is that someone who is not honest, a dishonest person can actually make a promise and default. You know, a dishonest person can promise someone money, and at the end of the day, or when that time comes, he or she will say, I'm sorry, I do not have, you know, and it will not bother that person. But you see, an honest person, anytime he or she makes a promise, you would want to fulfill that promise. And guess what happens when that person cannot fulfill the promise? He or she will be disturbed. Someone like me, it used to happen to me because I don't want to be seen as someone who lies. I don't want to be seen as someone who makes promises and never fulfill them and never redeem them. So, if you can tackle this, it is very hard. It is very tough to tackle. I understand. But anytime you're struggling with whether you should promise or not, remember those days where you had no money. Remember those days where you're just so broke and you cannot even see anyone to lend you some money. Yes. So if you do this, it is going to help you a lot. I can tell you that promising people kept me in financial bondage, kept me in financial, should I tag it financial captivity for a very long time because you will have queue or you have quite a number of people expecting something from you. And at the end of the day, you'd be struggling with your conscience whether to fulfill it or to leave it. And because you're not the type that would want to fail, you would want to redeem it. But to whose detriment? Yours. And you know that sometimes the money you're expecting may come, but you now have emergencies. And these emergencies may be so important to you that you have to do it. So the emergencies will now clash with your promise or your promises, as the case may be, and calls keeps coming in. And these people, trust me, can disturb. They will disturb your life. They will call you. If you said next week, by Monday they are already calling you. Tuesday they are calling you. Wednesday they are calling you until you fulfill that promise. So why I said if you're an honest person is that I understand. I've been there before. I know how honest people can be when they get into that situation where they cannot fulfill their promise. It gives them this, it doesn't give them this settlement They're not settled, they don't have peace of mind until they fulfill that promise. And once they fulfill that promise, your account becomes empty. You're returning back to square one. So this is not good for your finances. If you're really, really serious about taking your finances to the next level in 2026, you have to stop this. So the second point I'm going to make is stop exchanging your season of labor for comfort. Yes, you don't have to do this. There is time for everything. There is time to labor, there is time to work, and there is time to enjoy the work. I know that most people would say, "Oh, what am I working for?" Yes, but you need to understand that you have so much time in the future to enjoy, to have your comfort, you know. So, giving yourself time, working when you need to work, laboring when you need to labor, gives you that time to accumulate your wealth, to put your finances together, take it to a higher level, and then you now sit down and enjoy what you worked for. But like I said in my previous video, if you watched one of the videos I posted earlier on, you hear me say that you can liken this kind of situation to a block that has just been molded like 5 minutes ago. Someone who weighs above 60, 70, 80 kg standing on it. What will happen to that block? It is going to break. That's what is going to happen to you because you've not accumulated a lot of wealth. You've not accumulated so much wealth and you want to enjoy comfort at a very young age. That is wrong, especially this one is really, really a tip for the young people. If you're still very young, you should understand that there is time for labor and there is time for comfort. Do not sacrifice your days of labor for comfort. I hope you understand. This one is just self explanatory. If you're able to put all these things into practice, your finances will be taken from 0 to 100 and you'll be so, so proud of yourself. Please, on the first point, do not quote me wrong. Do not say, "What if?" Now, if you understand that this is a matter of life and please, you can go ahead and help if you have. Okay, don't be entirely strict.